from caving in. Do you ever feel already buried? Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under screens, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you know that there's not a chance for you, cause there's a spark in you?
It's a perfect intro.
Pando just has to ignite the light and let it shine. He owns your night like the 4th of July. Cause PAPI, you're a firework. Kill Mill, show us what you're worth. Make him go fo, fo, fo. As Piggle screams, no, no, no. PAPI, you're a firework. Come on, tie-dye, do your worst. Make him go fo, fo, fo. You're gonna make us all low, low, low. You have to admit, it's a waste of space. Hacks are expensive now, they cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds, after a hurricane comes a tornado.
And then are we doing the intro? Okay, good.
When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Meta Show. I am Brisk Rubal. I am joined... Wait, I am not joined by the... Where's the Matani? What the hell? We gotta... Dude, we gotta start the show, man. Come on. Oh, here we go.
No chance, that's what you
Hello, puppies. I had to think today about how I was gonna really get exactly the right vibe for how much you have done fucked up. Because now you fucked up. You have done fucked up now. And so, how do you describe so much failure so rapidly? I don't know. I can't go green. I already went green on one meta show because you sucked so much over almost a year of failure that just going green wouldn't cut it. It wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be enough. Snuggie, Black Snuggie, we did that. We did that a couple weeks ago because you fucked up then. The things you fucking people make me do for love. So now, here we are. If you can't handle it, I suggest you run away. I suggest you be like little Marcus Murphy and run away, because Matani Man Bad is going to say some mean things because now you done fucked up.
Oh, here we go. We're back. We're back to a normal level of smug.
Fucked up now. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, mainly involving the doom of our cowardly foes and yet again another catastrophic, historic failure. One of the greatest failures in the history of EVE Online since the last historic failure in the history of EVE Online, the greatest bombing run in history, enabled by the repeated, redundant stupidity of these fucking puppies. Amazing, astounding. We're
going to put
How
this...
am I going to top this week after week when you keep fucking up and crying about it? I love it. It's good.
It is hard to put into words how epic last night was. So let me set the scene for all of you who were not here last evening for the shenanigans in 3TAC-D and elsewhere around the remaining Delve constellation that the Imperium controls. So, last week or so, all we have seen this entire week has been constant skirmishing, constant fighting. For the first time, we saw a major PAPI form-up last night to contest the iHub in 3TAC-D, as well as shoot other stuff. And they brought everything. They brought hacks. They brought more hacks. They brought harpies. They had at least like 7 monitors on grid because, you know, monitors increase their DPS
because they scared. They need their monitors because they scared.
I mean, it was. Actually, let me count. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 monitors in the fleets last night. 13. It was pretty significant. So what happens? They come in. They start shooting stuff. We start fighting with them. We have supers. They have subcaps because they're not using supers to take 1 DQ. They don't need to, apparently.
They know better than us. They're smarter. We're dumb goons. We use swear words on a stream, so we must be dummy dum-dums. Gobbins is smarter. Elfboy knows what's up.
And
it's
the
not that you're failing because... Sorry, you go. Keep telling them what happened. Tell them what happened. I want to hear the story of their failure again.
So basically... the fighting has happened. We pushed them off. We've won the jammer, and all these guys decide they're gonna make a break for it at exactly the same time. So what happens? You have something close to 1,000 people on the bad guy side, something close to 1,000 people on our side. At one point in local, there were 2,000 people, 2,000 characters. Obviously, it's not all people because many people were multi-boxing. They decide they're all going to take the gate at the same time. What happens when you do that? You get bombed. That's what happens when you do that. Pando, waiting. It was a Hail Mary. And if you talk to Pando about it, and if you were in it comms like I was last night while we were doing this, we all thought this was a Hail Mary. We didn't think this was going to happen. We didn't think it was going to work. It was, you're pushing bombs onto a gate and you're trying to get it. I mean, it was just, is this going to work? And then the kill mail started pouring in. And let me show you. Let me show you the battle report here. The battle report here. Right here. 200 billion killed, and the vast majority of this, right here, was from one bomb run that decimated their entire fleet. I mean, it was just insane. And you can see everything died. All the semis, all the hacks, all of their stuff was sitting on the gate, and it all went boom. A whole Serb fleet right there. It keeps scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There's an Eagle fleet dumpstered. Here we go. Keep going. Here we go. We get to the Munins. Munins dumpstered.
It just goes and goes and goes. It just
keeps going. They lost.
Like their excuses keep going.
Right. Let me get that right there, back there. 1,125 ships in this fight, which, of course, I am sure I'm waiting for them to say, well, you know, we didn't lose this fight. Well, we don't lose fights. We had a secret objective that we totally hit that you guys aren't smart enough to realize. I'm going to put the smug meter on because I'm smugging it up now. That there's this massive, important, super secret objective that PAPI completed that all of us are too dumb to know what it was. But we know, because that's what they say. There's never a technical loss. There's never a strategic loss. It's always, we were doing something else. You guys just thought we were shooting the jump bridge. You just thought we were in Tosasing the iHub. You just thought we were shooting the jammers. Well, we had a more important thing to do tonight. Apparently that more important thing was losing like 4 hack fleets on a fucking gate and then crying about it, which we'll get to in a second. But that's what happened. And it was singular, as the boss said, it was by far about the biggest single bomb run like catastrophe in the history of EVE Online. I have never seen that many ships, that much ISK die in one bomb run in my 15 years of playing, and I would be hard-pressed for anybody to find another example of something that big. It was huge.
Never in the history of EVE Online has there been such a preventable failure and such a large destruction. They had warning. They were warned in the morning when we bombed them, and they sat there and they died. And you know what? It was just lucky that I was there. Brisk, I apologize. I have to make the puppies angry here for a little bit. I'm going to say something in addition to some mean swear words that'll make the little church ladies grab their pearls and go to their fainting couches to talk about how mature they are in our internet spaceship video game.
Look at these old guys saying dirty words on the internet.
How dare people have fun in a way that the Blue Donut and their cowards consensus doesn't agree upon. Oh gosh, somebody's got to stop the Matani. Somebody's got to stop the Imperium. They're playing EVE Online, a sandbox game, in a way that Elf Boy doesn't like. Ha! So I gotta say some things that are gonna make some people kind of mean. This is a little Matani story about what I was doing in the lead up to that little thing, because I was blessed. The whelp gods, they spoke to me. They opened up an opportunity for me, because you see, I saw in chat here a little bit earlier ago, somebody was saying that I'm angry and that I need a vacation. And you're right. The truth is that when I last took a vacation in this very long war full of pathetic cowards, I was interrupted when I went to Michigan to relax. This is many months ago. And they dropped those keep stars and we fought them. So I didn't really get a real vacation, and it's true. But this week, finally, I completed my fuck palace. Yes, my fuck palace. And that is where I was for most of this week. I was out. I was offline. I had told the directorate that I would be gone. I retreated and enjoying my garden of earthly delights. But as it happened, my girlfriend had to go on an errand. And so after spending 25 hours in there in the last 7 days, I emerged from my fuck palace, exhausted, only to see Mr. Fourth Place, Vily, pinging his little surprise attack. Oh, it was a good plan. It was actually a decent plan if they weren't a bunch of failures and fuck-ups. I came out of my fuck palace to smug. I broadcasted a message about Khal Drogo from Brave sympathizing with the rest of the puppies about how, oh gosh, we know this war is hard, but if we don't defeat the Imperium, we're next on the menu, which is absolutely true. And then I started seeing the pings, a coordinated surprise attack on a Euro weekend. Actually a pretty clever plan, credit to them if they hadn't fucked it up, to leverage the strength of their Euro time zone to bolster the weakness of their USTZ, who has dashed themselves against the walls of 1DQ1 and failed time after time. There was a 4-day weekend. 4-day weekend, attack on Friday, use your Euros to stay up late, bolster the attack, hack the 1DQ1 constellation, breach through the walls. But I happened to be around and it was nice. We could herf, we could scream, we could get our people there. But I want you to know, and he tapped out early because I would have warned him if Marcus Murphy was watching the show. He tapped out even before. He said he's not going to do a meta show summary because Matani Man bad and blah, 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 blah. But I just want you motherfuckers to know that I didn't even realize that that motherfucker had posted 7 meltdown threads because I was busy in my fuck palace. Because we are here to fuck. And apparently you're here to run and get bombed on your way out. Ooh, Matani Man bad. He said something about sex. Ooh, bad man.
I cannot wait to have to spend the next 2 months defending the fact that you have a fuck palace, because people are not going to want it. They're going to say, "Oh my God, that's the cringiest thing I've ever heard." And
it started as a sex room.
This is the cringiest thing I ever heard this week.
And now it's a
so
fuck
bad.
palace. Yeah, I hope you cry about it, bitches. I just want you to know I wasn't paying attention earlier this week. I'm not prepared to talk about nullification or any of these CCB changes. I haven't even read the fucking dev blog, because while you were crying and running, I was fucking. And that makes you mad. And I want you to know that I enjoy it. And goddamn, does it make my girlfriend horny when you're pissed off at me because I'm screaming at you. Anyway, eat shit, motherfuckers. Eat shit. This is what you can look forward to for years.
It's back.
You are faltering at the gates of 1DQ1. Your will is breaking. I can see the fear in your posts. You know you have bitten off more than you can chew. You thought you were going to war with yourselves. You thought all the people in Nullsec are just like you, piss-pee cowards. And it turns out that the Imperium is something different. Now you have made enemies that you don't understand. You are faltering at the gates. I see the fear. I smell the fear. I watch your propagandists break because they can't handle this. Marcus Murphy can't handle watching the fucking meta show because he's a little coward. I suggest you all run away. Don't watch the fucking meta show because apparently you guys can't handle it any better than you can handle Delve. All right,
boss.
Let's talk about EVE Online.
I don't know what you did today, but you got to do that more often, because that's all.
I spent 25 hours in my fuck palace in the last 7 days.
I guess that must do it. That
was not actually a joke. Like, that's completely real.
Making me excited. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep this going. So what is the inevitable? Now I'm gonna go into the.
All right, I can't do that anymore. I got to take this off and drop the wrestler gimmick.
You can't do any more events today, or your head's gonna explode.
I'm gonna blow out my voice. I can only shout
Everybody's
so much.
Gonna be. Tani said all that nasty. Yeah, guys.
Cry, bitches!
He's trying. If you guys haven't figured out the Vince McMahon thing yet, you're never going to figure it out. So I hope you guys
care if they figure it out. Like, seriously, guys, I want you to understand, puppies, you have really genuinely underestimated Goonstorm, and I think that's good. If you had not underestimated us, we would have been in deep trouble fighting off the entire galaxy for the last year. But one of the things that you really do need to get, you actually won't get it, you probably will never get it, is we don't give a fuck what puppies think. We care about the Imperium. We care about our people. We care about the people that are on our side. You guys want to have this little consensus world where you get on your crying in stations and you all agree in your little fucking echo chamber about how the sandbox game should be played. And you gossip like church ladies crying when somebody plays the sandbox game in a different way. EVE Online used to be about harden the fuck up and wreck their dreams. And yet this blue donut is desperate to confirm the worst stereotypes of nullsec players around the galaxy, because holy shit, gosh, somebody said something we didn't like. Let's cry about it. Gosh, we should have freedom and 103 alliances blue such that we can rent and bot and do all of our things in peace and love and kumbaya. And for God's sakes, the mean goons keep saying mean things. Matani says, fuck, they don't take us seriously. And that's what really grinds your gears, is that we don't take you seriously. You're on the outside, motherfuckers. You're on the outside and you'll always be on the outside. Okay, I'm done.
You did?
For the next 30 seconds or so.
All right. So after the bomb run, what do you think happened, guys? What do you think happened? Let me ask you. You have watched PAPI and their leadership after every major failure that they've had in this war, and they've had one refrain. So what do you think do they do? I'll make it. All right, we'll make it a multiple choice. Did they A, accept responsibility and say, "Good game, guys, you really got us"? B, did they say, "Well, we killed all your keep stars, so we're going to be back, and you're not going to be able to stop us"? Or C, did they blame the servers?
What would Elf Boy do? I'm going to go ahead and say the moment that we saw that bombing run, which incidentally, Darkshine's just pinged me, and he wants to make sure that we give credit where credit is due.
Pando did it, but also Alice
Alice.
Alice and Pando together. It was goons in a joint bomb run that made this happen. I think there's a consensus in the audience that they're going to blame the servers. Do you think that's what they did?
Well, Gobbins, the moment it happened, before he even had an opportunity to really analyze things, had immediately sent a broadcast to all of Horde, because Elf Boy immediately blames CCP when things go badly, because it can't be that the pubbies are fucking up and failing in their war. Oh no. So I'm gonna, you know what, Brisk? I'm gonna vote with C. I'm gonna go ahead and think. I probably think that they might blame the servers. Have they ever done that before? Is that a thing that PISP does?
And the answer is C. Of course it was fucking C. They're never going to give us credit for anything. They're never going to say, good job, Pando. Good job, Alice. You guys nailed us. That was tough. You did exactly what you're supposed to do when you're trying to get guys on the way out and they're all bunched up and they're trying to jump. You guys did exactly the right thing. No, of course they didn't do that. The first thing they do is send out a ping telling all their guys to file a petition to get their ships back, because this was obviously a bug. Because how is it possible? Whoever in the history of EVE has ever heard of getting stuck in a jump tunnel when 1,000 fucking people are jumping through the same gate at exactly the same time? Because that's never happened before. Said no one ever. It happens every time. It's happened to
that
us.
Morning. It happened that morning.
Literally that morning. They had an entire fleet deleted by Pando doing the exact same thing. Less than 24 hours earlier. It was literally that morning. They knew this was an issue. And they can claim, oh, well, there must be something wrong with that system. Guys, there were 2,000 people in local. The tie-dye was 10%, but things were working pretty fine. It seems pretty clear to me that the super geniuses on the PAPI side obviously requested the server be reinforced, that the node be reinforced. So they were planning this. They knew it was coming. They probably wouldn't have taken the fight if they didn't think the node was reinforced, because that's their MO. But immediately, they start crying and saying, this isn't fair, this was the server, you guys broke the server, to the point that earlier in the day, our dear friend, ProGod, made a post saying, wow, it sucks to be you guys. You don't have any good FC. You don't have any good bomber FCs. How can you be a major alliance with no bomber FCs? I'll put the picture up. That's what he said. Imagine being a major alliance and not having any good bomber FCs. Lol. And then, of course, he said Matani's bitch made later. Literally made a bitch.
I have I don't know if it's safe for me to leak this or not, because I don't really know where he's getting this, but ProGod apparently is saying that I don't like it when I'm shitting talking Matani. It's about in-game stuff and all of this, and they don't like the wrestler shtick. They don't like the wrestler shtick. I'm new at this stuff, guys. Like, I've never actually been into professional wrestling. I've never watched any of this. So I'm kind of like, I'm trying to do the whole.
I'm teaching him about Vince.
Some of my guys show me like the Vince McMahon thing, but I don't think I can actually do like the I'll practice it. I'll see if I can do the Vince walk for next time we do the wrestling heel stuff. But yeah, so ProGod, talk shit, get hit, bitch. You called me, oh, the Matani is made of, bitch, and then you want to go recline on your fainting couch because somebody doesn't give a fuck what you think and is willing to call you out in front of an entire audience of people. Oh wait, I don't need to because you called yourself out. Oh gee, wouldn't it be nice if you had good bomber FCs, motherfucker? Oh, poor baby.
I think we
poor
do.
Baby onion skin. Matani man bad. Matani made of bitch. Oh, Matani is fighting back. Oh, I say mean words back. You can give it, but you can't take it, which is the story of PISP. Which is exactly what you should expect from these people.
I cannot believe that they're willing to still say shit like, we don't have good bomber FCs. When Alice and Pando pull stuff like that on like, Boat's not a good bomber FC? I mean, he invented half this shit. Come on, guys, don't even start. And that's just the same hubris we've been seeing from folks on their side of the aisle. It's a common frame with these guys. They are the smartest. They know everything. They are the greatest EVE players of all time. If something is broken, it can't. If they make a mistake, it obviously wasn't their fault. It was the server's fault. You guys remember Shawshank Redemption? I remember I love Shawshank. It's a good movie. And you got Red is out there talking to what's his face, to Andy Dufresne, and they're talking about who's guilty in Shawshank. What are you in for? And they asked Haywood, what are you in for? His response was, didn't do it, lawyer fuck me. PAPI is Haywood, and every single thing it is didn't do it, server fucked us. Every single time. They cannot accept responsibility for mistakes. It has to be somebody else's fault. It has to be the server's fault. CCP made us lose. And the worst thing is they feed that stuff to their members and the members repeat it. But I mean, how many of these guys, if you play the game, you know you're going to get stuck in a jump tunnel when you got a big crew going through. I mean, we had this happen the day before up in the drone regions, 200 of us taking the gate at the same time when we're stuck in jump tunnels for like 2 minutes. It happens. I mean, it's inevitable. Everybody knows this happens.
We've gotten bombed on gates constantly. Like, that's just part of the game. But suddenly when it happens to Pispy, they got to go crying to mommy, crying to daddy. There is no mommy or daddy, so they're going to blame CCP. Oh, guys, everybody petition it. It can't be right, because in their world, they genuinely believe. They bought into the Olmeca bullshit. They bought into their beliefs of who the Imperium really are. And so if they're failing at the gates of 1DQ1, it must be CCP's fault. It must be each other's fault. It's got to be somebody's fault, but it can't be the fact that they made the same damn mistake that they made earlier this morning with lots of advance warning. Also, I got to try one thing here, guys, while we're doing the whole wrestling heel shtick. It's got nothing to do with any of my beats. It's just going to be completely random. I just want to see if I can do this while we're doing this. So please indulge me as I act the fool. Oh, yeah! I just wanted to see if I had it in me. I don't know. You guys don't know how that works. We'll work on the shtick as it goes.
I love it. I love it. We're getting there.
I'm just making this shit up as I go on, guys. Like, you know, it's all in fun, except when it's not, motherfuckers.
So obvious. All right. So getting back to this week. So basically, what we've seen this week, the sum total of everything that's happened this week has essentially been PAPI probing, trying to find a way to get into 1DQ. They can't come into 1DQ directly from T5Z. They're trying to go through the back door. Yes, I said go through the back door. They're trying to take 3-TAC-D. They're trying to... Sorry. I had to. I couldn't help it. They had to. I had to. They're trying to come through 3-TAC-D.
It's going to be a silly show, guys, today. Sorry.
We're having fun. We're having a lot of fun today, guys. Let me just tell you. We had a lot of fun. I'm so excited. I have pants on. This is the first time I've worn pants on the Meta Show in years. I'm going out to dinner with my wife and some work colleagues of her after the show. This is my first, like, big boy going outside the house for a meal since the before times. I'm so excited. So all they have done this week, literally all that has happened has been this constant skirmishing, and for the most part, PAPI has ended up on the downside of all these fights. They have been losing hacks, they've been losing fleets, they've been losing jackdaws, they've been getting killed over and over again. They have dropped multiple Asbels. I believe that there have been 6 drops so far. 5 of them are dead. I think there's 1 still alive. They've been dropping these structures because apparently you have to drop structures if you're going to take a system, according to them. And they haven't really formed to even defend most of those structures when they've been online. We killed an Asbel. I killed an Asbel in my Super. I killed an Asbel in my Super Blinged Out Leshak. I killed an Asbel in my Titan. They have not, both of my Titans. It's the only kill my Titan's gotten on, the new one, because the other 2 are dead. But the point is, this whole week has just seen constant skirmishing. And if you are on the PAPI side, if you're a line member, the only thing that you guys have achieved, that your leadership has achieved for you this week, has been a lot of dead ships and a lot of SRP filings. That's about it. They have not made any progress. They are still where they are. Now they're going to claim we've done everything we can do, but the reality is you're at the gates of 1DQ, you're rattling the sabers, you're acting like you're going to come in here, and so far you haven't made any progress. How many more weeks of no progress are the PAPI guys going to withstand before their numbers get so bad that they can't form fleets anymore?
Wait, I seem to remember a very important personage in this war had some comments on this. Let me see if I can dig up the Elf Boy quote. If you expect massive battles, expect to be disappointed. And if there's anything that I've seen in the aftermath of the brilliant anti-bomber technique that the PISP FCs have been displaying this week, a lot of people in their line are certainly disappointed. We're over here cheering on these little supernovas and watching stars be born out of the ashes of the PISP leader's ambition. But seriously, like, wow, that was just... one of the things I want to say, actually, for our people, like no act, no Wrestling Hill stuff, with Fireside is tomorrow, so I just want to talk to people in the Imperium for a little bit. I am so proud of what I've seen from our guys in the last couple of weeks here. The way that we have worked together, the way that we have stood off against this. The bad guys are going to try to make it look like it wasn't a big deal. And we'll talk about this a bit more on the Fireside tomorrow, but I want to say something now. This was a potentially very real surprise attack. It was a decent plan for them to do it on a Euro Wednesday, excuse me, a Euro Friday with Thursday off. They chose to time the attack at midnight Eve time, such that our US time zone people that didn't have a holiday had to rush home for work. And I really appreciate that you guys did, that we were able to see these guys off. And the point of this message is not just, I'm really proud of you and what you pulled off and that we've come together like this, but this next week is going to be critical, because the last thing that we want to do right now is rest on our laurels, right? We are manning the walls. There are a bunch of as-bell timers that are on the op ticker, and I want you guys to start planning things around for your schedule for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Goodandfleet.com op ticker. We're not going to let any of these as-bells get through without a hell of a fucking fight. We are not going to say, ooh, yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrestling heel it up or whatever, but we have a shitload of work to do. As the enemy is stalling out and losing momentum, it is ever more critical that we double down and work harder to maintain the defenses of Fortress Stealth. So we'll talk about that more on the Fireside. I just want to tell our guys how fucking proud I am of them for this. It's just amazing. And then as a bonus round, you know, Darkshines, Pando, Alice, and the bombers, the bomber guys are fucking heroes. I was happy to take a 30 billion ISK loss as these guys were on their way out just to see off the 4-day weekend strategic attack. That just got shut down completely. They called in people that we haven't seen in the war zone in T5ZI in months, like random fed up Gia fleets were around. They dragged up every single bottom of the barrel pubby that they could, you know, basically force into T5ZI to run into our guns and get vaporized by our bomber FCs. So it worked out really well, but there's a lot more work to do. And you'll hear about this on the Fireside tomorrow, but I just want people to, again, double your stockpiles, man the fucking walls. We are like, I might be jacking myself off here and like Herf Blurf, you know, wrestling heel meta show shtick, but real talk. Next week, just all of this. Dot our I's, cross our T's, focus, focus, focus. We're not going to let these piss-pee bitches suddenly get one over us just because we vaporized them and have them currently bleeding out and losing momentum. Let's not fuck this up. All right, that's it. That's what I got. What's next?
Backfield talk for a little bit, and then we'll go into, we're going to go into the CCP stuff and talk about that a little bit, because we've got, not only do we have a Pearl Abyss rating earnings call that we can talk a little bit about, and then we also have the nullification changes. Which have been, let me just say, controversial a little bit. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So right now, I mean, basically, as you guys know, we talked about it the last 2 weeks on the show. Init and friends are up north. We are deployed within distance of Ethereum Reach and Clava Lava and those guys. So we are going up there and messing with Horde and their colleagues in Slice all the time. So there's been constant skirmishing, and I have to say, we have seen multiple situations where PAPI has had to form big fleets to come contest our stuff. They've also formed big fleets to come blow up our structures, including like going in and trying to attack us in Curse, which I think is funny because GTACO has been our ancestral homeland for a while. We have a couple of structures in there, but vast majority of everything we've got is in the stations, because that's where the missions are that we run to make money on the side. So we have structures there. Thanks to, you know, the clone bay changes, we can dump as many clones as we want into the structures. It's not a big issue. So they're going up there and they're killing these things. And really, as far as we can tell, the only reason they're doing it is because they're really, really pissed that we are in their backfields. I've talked to Darkshines. I've got just week after week, battle report after battle report of these guys coming out in hundreds and 150 numbers. That is, every time they form up and they pull stuff down, they're pulling stuff out of Delve to come up and fight us. That's great. And even if we lose, and frankly, we've done a pretty good job of winning some of these fights, even if we lose, we still pulled these guys off the front lines. They burned a jump timer. They either have to grab an interceptor and fly down, or they're stuck. So as far as I can tell so far, it looks to me like our deployment up north is paying dividends. I think it's wearing out the Horde guys. I think a lot of the Horde guys that are not actively involved in the war are getting really tired of having their infrastructure blown up, or at least knocked offline, because it's really inconvenient and they don't like it. And they complain that they don't like it. And they're asking their leaders, why are we in this war? Why can't you guys defend our home space? I thought you won. I thought we won. I thought Delve was done. I thought we already own everything. Why are they up here? Why can't we stop them? And the reality is, you can't. That's the joy of being able to stage from an NPC area. But anyway, that's what it's doing.
My favorite part of the init stuff is watching our enemies cry about bubbles. Like all this last week, there's been lots of memes about it. Oh gosh, Pando and crew they're dropping bubbles and war crimes. I don't forget it was a Pando or Darkshines, but I know that init is using bubbles up north to mess with the bad guys. Except, oh wait, weren't you guys so proud? Weren't you Pispy guys so proud of your bubbles on that Keepstar in NPC Delve? Oh, bubble wrapping is cool and good. It's just, again, like everything else when it comes to these guys, it's cool and good when they do it. But if anybody else in the sandbox game, EVE Online, goes against their coward's consensus, gosh, that's bad. Run to mommy, run to teacher. Tattletales, it's pathetic. But yeah, bubbles are gameplay, dude. Well, bubbles are gameplay.
That's the thing. So the bubble thing that Mittens is referring to is, in order to not have to burn a jump clone, these guys will love to try to burn up from wherever they are in Kesh or wherever else they're coming from. And it's like 30 jumps. And the last time they formed up to try to hit one of our structures, Pando was there and dropped bubbles on every gate that they had to come in. So every single gate, it was like they were flying on autopilot. They would hit the bubble, they'd have to burn in, and then they'd have to burn out, and then they have to keep going. And it was the point that it spawned a Reddit thread of, in it, tell your FC we hate him. And we're like, we know, he knows you hate him. It's great. But it was just pretty funny, because that's the type of thing that you can do when your enemies are completely strung out. You just waterboard them all the way up. And they can't, they have to do it. There's no, either they're going to not do what they want to do, or they are going to have to be put up with this type of nonsense. It's why it's nice for us in Delve to have the interior lines of communication, to be right in our home space and have all really nestled together, because we don't have to worry about that kind of traveling. And then within it, we're already upstairs. We've got our jump clones and our death clones set. We can bounce back and forth as we need to. And it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's causing a lot of pressure on the guys in the backfield. They're not happy about it.
It's excellent, and it is, as usual, the tip of the fucking Imperium Spear of Vengeance. It's fantastic. We're delighted by it all. You guys are fucking kicking ass, taking names up north, down in 1 to Q1. It's great times.
All right, we're gonna hit into our CCP segment, and I'll talk a little bit about nullification, just to give you guys an update.
I'll shift out of wrestling heel mode when we're talking about nullification.
We'll get into an analysis mode and just the facts man mode, and then we're going to talk a little bit about PA, and then we're going to get you guys out of here. I have a little bit of teaser at the end for you all. Some of you guys have already seen it, but we'll play that at the very end. And I got to be out of here right at 5 o'clock, because we got to get on the road. So here we go, piercing the corporate veil. All right, so this week was announced some of the biggest changes, I think, that you're going to see to the nullsec meta probably in quite a long time, at least until we finally get whatever solution they're cooking up to AFK Cloaky camping, which has been teased out for a couple weeks. But in the meantime, this nullification change is pretty significant. So let me show you. I'll just run through it real quick with you guys. They put this up over on CC. They're calling it the Great Escape. Essentially, what it's doing is they're going to take nullification as a passive aspect to interceptors and as a passive part of the module on T3Cs, the nullification module on T3Cs, the interdiction nullifier. And they're going to make it a module that you have to activate every time you want to use it. So they're going to, and then in addition to that, they're going to add it to other things. They're going to add it to blockade runners, deep space transports, covop frigates, and other things. Some of this stuff has changed, so I won't go read on into all of this. But there's going to be multiple different types that have different roles that you're going to use, Tech 1, and then the obvious Tech 2s, and then the meta ones. And then they're also making changes to warp core stabilizers so that those don't provide passive benefits anymore, but they provide active benefits. And they increase the amount of strength and decrease the number that you need to have to get the same amount, but you're not going to be able to hit the same numbers that you hit before. Now, after a lot of controversy, a lot of complaints from a lot of players that these changes were going to make massive changes to the nullsec meta. They're going to make it impossible for people to use interceptors to move through gate camps. They're going to make gate camps too strong. They're going to make gate camps too easy because the warp core stab changes. You're going to let all these guys go through in their deep space transports and their blockade runners that we used to be able to catch. Now we're not going to be able to catch them because they're nullified, and a bunch of other changes. They did make some changes, and I know CCP Paradox put this up. So in case you haven't seen this, there was an issue. There was a bug on CC where when you would hit the nullifier button and then warp, it would stop and the effect would stop. They fixed that. That was a bug. They've taken stealth bombers out, which is something that I pushed very hard for on the CSM. I thought having stealth bombers be nullified was just way too hard. They adjusted bonuses to reduce penalties for putting these modules on the combat ships and yachts. Then they also made it possible that you can activate the thing while you are under a Stargate cloak, which was critical because otherwise you're going to miss a tick and you're probably going to die. And then they made some changes to the attribute text and things like that in there. So the biggest thing that this does, the biggest change that this does, is it takes what had been. Oh, and the other big thing, and this was huge for me because this is something that Anominate and Merkelchen and I have been asking for years on the CSM, is they're finally putting nullification on shuttles to make shuttles the easy, expected go-to for moving yourself around without carrying any cargo. Because there's no combat, you can't do anything combat-wise with a shuttle. It's pretty squishy, so if you run into a smart bombing fleet, you're going to die. But you still move pretty quick, and if you got a Leopard, you're going to move really quick. If you're going to fly your Council Diplomatic Shuttle, that I have a bunch of as a CSM, because I thought they were cool because it mentioned the CSM in it, you're going to fly those because they can all get through gate camps now. But they can't carry cargo, they're not tackle, they can't do anything combat-wise. I think that's the most positive change, in my opinion, out of all the stuff that's in there. But the concern that a lot of people have is this is going to require players to be more active. It's not a passive thing anymore. One of the things we've seen from CCP, they are trying to move towards more passive, away from passive gameplay towards more active gameplay. They want you thinking, what's happening? What is on grid? What am I looking at? And making decisions and deciding, am I going to hit the nullifier knowing that if I do it now, I might need it later and I can't use it? Are you going to try to burn back the gate and not use it? Are you going to try to go to a safe? Or are you going to wait your timer out? How are you going to move around? They're making the gameplay more active. On the T3C side, I think I would have left the T3Cs alone if it had been me. I think they're pretty fine. But I think, frankly, the idea that you have to actively do something and you're giving up something in order to get that ability, I think that promotes the kind of active gameplay that we want. We don't want people that are just going to sit warp 2, warp 2, warp 2, warp 2. And God knows I do it all the time. You know, and that's why I lose interceptors to smart bombs, because I'm not paying attention. It's still going to happen. But at least it gives everybody an opportunity, or at least a desire to be more active. And I think that's a good idea. Now, was this what I asked for? Was this what Nam and Merck and I asked for? Was this the kind of changes that the CSM had asked for? No.
I think anybody?
No, I mean, here's the thing.
Did anybody ask for this at all?
If you want to know what we have consistently asked for, what I've consistently asked for is nullification off combat ships other than T3Cs and nullification on shuttles. That's it. What I suggested, what I thought would be cool would be if you put a gun on a interceptor, it's no longer nullified. That way you still have them for tackle, but these fleets of Ares and stilettos flying around, zapping everything, go away because they're impossible to catch. So that was what we had asked for. Now, CCP has obviously decided that they want to make this a bigger thing. They want to expand rather than contract the number of ships with nullification on it. They want to change the meta, and they want to put it on a module. And because modules, when they do the module thing, it's very easy to change a module because you just change the module and it covers every ship, as opposed to having to change every different type of ship with every different kind of bonus. They prefer to do it that way, and it makes it much easier for them. That's fair. I understand that. But as Mitten said, this is the kind of thing where somebody asks for a minor change and they get a major rework, and people are kind of scratching their heads. Why did this go through? So, at least from an Imperium standpoint, I've been listening. I don't know what the rest of the folks. I've heard from a lot of folks inside the Imperium that like these changes. I've heard from just as many that hate them viscerally and are going to quit if they go through without getting adjusted. I have been putting through all of the information that I get from people, whether it's on the forums, whether it's talking to folks, whether it's, God forbid, Reddit. Laura Secco made a really good post, and I passed that on to CCP. Although I know he thinks that I'm not as smart as he is, but at least I'm smart enough to pass on when he does good things. And I've been pushing for a couple of other things that I think that still needs to get hit. Mainly, including, I want to see at least the Caldera interceptors need an additional low slot. Because if you're putting the nullification in a low slot, you're going to lose your insta-warp line in the Caldera ships, and that's not fair. So hopefully we'll get that change added too. I don't know. But that's basically nullification changes. I'm sure you've seen or will see a ton of people discussing this because it has a huge potential impact on the nullsec meta. It's still, I think there's still people that are not looking at this from a rational perspective. They're emoting because this is a major change. But if you all recall, when they put nullification in, and it wasn't that long ago, it was only like 7 or 8 years ago that they put nullification in the first place, everybody was freaked. Oh, it's going to be so easy to move around. We're never gate camps. Nobody's ever going to gate camp anymore. Why would you? These interceptors are just going to go right through, et cetera, et cetera. I'm never going to be able to stop any tackle coming in and killing my raiders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of the same types of, oh my God, Chicken Little, the sky is falling type stuff was heard back then. It didn't really pan out. But I think these changes potentially could be interesting, and they're definitely going to make everybody think. So if you haven't had a chance, go on CC, test them out, see what you can do, see how they feel to you. And if they are not that great, you don't like it, let me know. Or let your CSM member know. We'll pass it on.
One of my favorite British comedy shows, haven't watched it in a few years, is Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister. And there's an amazing scene where Sir Humphrey is explaining, or actually I forget it was Humphrey or the minister, but basically whether it's a courageous or a brave act. And when you hear a politician saying that something is interesting or courageous or brave, that actually is translated for through the speak of diplomacy is that you're blowing up everything. You done fucked up. Like, how can you be doing this damn silly thing in this damn silly way? That's very courageous, a courageous and interesting move. Let me give my take on this. Look, I've always been, I think that nullification on T3Cs is balanced because you make sacrifices. I think that logistics, T3 cruisers that are like nullified and stabbed and things have been very useful in wars. They can really, in a situation where a ship can really only be used for nullified travel. So I would absolutely support the addition of nullification to shuttles. But I've always thought that nullification is bad, right? With the exception of a few basic circumstances, right? Like maybe the yachts, adding it to the shuttles, that's great. We have seen a lot of really dumb crap come through the meta over the years because of nullification. It's sort of like a remote doomsday kind of level of, or an AOE doom, like, what? And so all the wrestling heel gimmick stuff aside, I'm very surprised by this. I think it's very strange. And, one of the things that does happen with CCP when they say something in public and then it blows up in their faces PR wise, because the player base is fucking pissed, right? Like, the war talk and the bombing stuff aside, if it wasn't for the bombings and the fuck ups of the last few days or whatever, all anybody was talking about is this nullification shit. And it's just kind of surprising to me when they opted for, gosh, nullification should be removed from more things and now we're going to put it on a module and get nullification to more things, like this thing that most of the players think is bad. And it's frustrating. Like if you're in a gate camp, you're hanging out there with your buddies, you're drinking beer, you're hanging out, doing your thing. Nullification is lame. You can't really catch things. It's like, oh, well, gee, like Fozzie Claws, like whatever. We had to deal with all that nonsense. And it's just I'm just stunned by this. Like, I don't think it's the end of the world, because I think that the player base is rightfully expressing very loud and angry concern about this one way or the other. And CCP probably won't want to admit, gosh, we overreached on this. But, if they dial it back on a dev blog, I think that we should be nice to them about it, right? Like, if it's a pride thing or whatever, like let them back it off, let them dial it back, let them put out some dev blogs, let the CSMs do their thing. But I'm shocked. Right. Like I'm not gonna try to put it in. One of the luxuries of not being on the CSM is that I don't have to use delicate language, obviously, because I'm acting the fool up here every Saturday. But it's just weird. It's just weird to me that they went this route, because the last thing that the EVE Online player base has been saying, with the exception, I think I've heard the idea of nullification on shuttles before. I think that's been bounced around. That seems like a perfectly reasonable thing. I don't think anybody would really have much of a problem with that. But the idea of just expanding one of the worst mechanics in EVE Online to more ships is just something. It's like, oh, hey, here's this thing that the players think is bad. Let's put 50 times more of it in the game. And one of the things about it is like the argument, and this is something that I would like CCP to be very cautious about, right? And I don't mean this in a mean way. There are certainly things like the quantum cores, where the quantum core system allows CCP to adjust the NPC prices of cores that go into citadels to adjust for citadel spam balance, right? So they can tweak the ISK value as the economy goes up or down, and that makes a lot of sense. One of the things that concerns me, particularly about the idea of having a module-based interdiction nullification thing, no matter how it plays out, is ships are very complicated and EVE players are very smart, and we'll find edge cases like we have for every time we are given nullification as a weapon, we find some way, like with Fozzie Claws or Sneaky Pete's or something, to weaponize it. And there's so many ships in the game, and CCP has other shit to do. Like CCP does a lot of good things. They have never been too great about regular ship balance updates, right? Like that, it's not like League of Legends or other MOBAs or whatever, where there's constant every week, there's a little tweak here, a little tweak there. And having a balance mechanism for a mechanic that is so powerful as nullification, and then keying that to, oh, well, we can just adjust that module. I don't think it's going to be really possible to balance a module for all of the hulls and all of the use cases in EVE Online safely, update it regularly without skewing the meta. So I think that this is it could be interesting. It could be tweaked in ways that will actually work out if they're listening to player feedback and CSM feedback. It does not have to be the end of the world. But I just want to sort of put a red flag out here, completely serious, no Matani man bad, not doing the wrestling here thing. This is me, former CSM, alliance leader, player, Matani dude, whatever. Like seriously, this is a high risk balance patch, and I hope that CCP looks into it and takes it seriously, because this is kind of like touching a third rail, right? Like people have very strong opinions about nullification, right, and it's very easy to fuck up. So please listen and don't fuck it up, and if it just even just maybe delay it a little bit so you can get more feedback from people, put the next version on the test server. Let's get some discussions going, because the last thing that I want to do, from my perspective, as like Goonswarm boss guy, I feel like we're winning this space war, and it would really fucking suck to finally get PAPI breaking and running, and like, yay, like, the storming the gates of 1DQ1, it failed, we're winning. And then for CCP to basically piss off the entire player base and fuck the whole thing up. And gosh, I don't want them to ruin the game just as we're turning the tide. Yep. But yikes, guys, yikes. This is a big oof, and I hope that everyone proceeds in a very careful and cautious way about it, because people are pissed, and they're pissed for good reason, because nobody wanted more nullification.
Right. And I think, obviously, I think they were listening. The fact that they've already made changes to the CC stuff is a good sign. I appreciate that. And I'm going to keep passing on as much intel and complaints and concerns. And the more granular, the better, because they really want to know what's the specific use. Don't just say, I don't like this, it sucks. That doesn't help anybody. But if you tell me, well, the amount of time that it takes to get between two gates in this system is too long, and this needs to be tweaked. That is more beneficial. But anyway, as you guys know, I've been on the forums, I've been on Reddit, I've been on Discord. If you need to get information, you want to tell the dev something, let me know, and I'm happy to pass it on for you. Now, we're gonna wrap things up. Pearl Abyss call stuff, we'll punt that to next week. Noisy Gamer has a great blog post out about it. If you want to go check out Noisy's website, The Nosy Gamer, you can read basically what I'm going to tell you next week because he and I are always on the calls together. Last thing before we get out of here, I'm going to play a teaser. I'm going to take, host privilege of putting a teaser out. I have heard from a lot of different people that there's one thing that they want more than anything else this CSM campaign season, and that is a hot tub stream. They want a hot tub stream.
A hot tub stream. Sexy.
I have to say, since I am a fan of my fans and I give them what they want, we're going to end the show today with a little bit of a campaign teaser from me about what you can expect in the coming campaign series. So thank you guys. This has been the Meta Show for May 15th, 2021. I'm Brisk Rubal, joined by the Matani. Stay classy, New Eden, and enjoy the teaser. There you go, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Meta Show.
Oh my!
There you go, everybody. We'll see you next time on the